but maybe that's just because I feel really out of my depth. The only bad I've heard from somebody talking about their college was somebody who goes to Hatfield. I don't know what to say to that, honestly. Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I haven't done this in ages, so this is fun. Bear with me. I'm gonna love the editing process after all this time, but we move. Hello, I haven't been doing YouTube while at uni because I haven't had time, honestly. Ignore my face, I'm doing my final edit, and I actually forgot to mention that I have been doing YouTube videos, so I've been doing like covers and stuff like that, so I just mean I haven't been doing like vlogs or Q&As or that sort of thing, so yeah. I was hoping to do some like uni related tour of uni, that sort of thing, to help out the year below, but I haven't been able to do that because of COVID. Yeah, we've been stuck for options really. I figured though that there were a couple people who the next year coming have already sort of been applying through UCAS already. I thought I'd still do a Q&A, still do sort of like a answer questions about uni that people might have for the year below, and also for people taking a gap year, for people even below that if they're watching my channel. Hi, hello to you. So yeah, I just put up, as a lot of you will know, little question things, so send in your questions and we'll just be answering those today. And because of COVID, I haven't actually been doing much at uni. We still have like obviously been socialising, and also most of my lessons, lectures, tutorials, and I'll go sort of a bit through that in this video, are all online at the moment. I do have 2 face-to-face tutorials. I think they're tutorials, they're not seminars. Anyway, and then next term, sociology department, the criminology degree, is trying to have more face-to-face. So I don't know about other subjects, courses, but criminology are trying to do that. Yeah, let's get into the questions. I have them up on my laptop. I have all the questions that are sent through. I filtered through them because there were quite a few repeats and there were quite a few that weren't related to uni, so I ignored those. I answered a few on my story that I didn't deem inappropriate. Yeah, if your question doesn't come up, then that's why. The first question is about Durham. Is Durham hard to get into? Like, whose dick would I have to suck? Okay, right. Durham, I don't know. I think Durham is hard to get into, yes, because it's one of the top universities. Like that's just sort of a given. I don't know, because my year was a different year and I don't know what I would have gotten in a normal year. I personally think, whether this is right or wrong, I don't know, I think I would have gotten higher than what I ended up getting, which doesn't matter now because A-levels don't matter now. Originally I came out with ABB and then I went to appeal it, and then the whole system changed and I then ended up with AAB, B in biology, A in history, A in English, 1 grade up from what I originally was. So I didn't get into my firm choice, which was English and criminology combined degree, and I'm actually quite happy I didn't, because English is very hard. I'll just give you that. Criminology, I enjoy it a lot more than I do the English side of my degree. Oh yeah, for you, there's a question later on about my English degree. I don't do an English degree, I do a criminology degree with 2 optional English modules because I didn't want to give up English, which I'm glad I didn't, because I am enjoying English, even though it's really hard. I think it really depends what grade you are working at and what course you're doing, because English was asking for A star AA, whereas criminology was asking for AAB. And I know people who got in on 3 Bs, I know people who didn't get in with 2 A stars and an A, so it really does depend. If you're doing something quite core, so English, maths, physics, biology, entrance requirements are probably quite set, and if you work hard then you'll get in, and if you don't get in, then there are many good universities, you know. Does Durham do a course in Swazology? I've been looking around for ages for a top bins uni. Now, I actually looked up what that meant and it didn't come up with anything, so I'm assuming it's a joke. I don't know what to say to that, honestly. Have many people taken a gap year, or are most 18 when going to uni? Good question. So it really depends, because if you're looking at my college, I go to Van Milder, the majority of people are 18, so have come straight from sixth form or college, but I do know people from group chats who have done a gap year. I know a lot of people at Grey, because that was where I originally was going to go before the whole mess up thing, who have done a gap year. So I think it really does depend on the college, and because Van Milder is a reallocation college, I think a lot of the people who were reallocated this year were first time applications, so there were people who had just come straight from sixth form. So I haven't got a representative view of that. If you want to do a gap year, then do one. That's all I can really say about that. There's a few that are about guys at uni. I wouldn't know, I have a boyfriend, so I can't really answer many of them, but I'll go through them and try my best, I guess. Are there any fit boys there? Sure. I don't know, it depends what your objectivity on fit boys are. Yeah, sure, there are good looking guys anywhere, I guess. Have you done the dirty with any boys? I want to know what uni is like for that. No, I haven't, because I've got a boyfriend. If you want to find something like that in a guy at uni, then I'm sure it will be available to you. I don't know, you're gonna have to ask other people for that sort of advice. Did you cheat on Mr. Bryson at uni? No, I didn't. I'm still with him and still happy and still whatever. Yeah, no, and he hasn't either, so we're winning. Isn't Durham Oxford reject? Good question. Yes in one answer and no in other answers. Yes, in the sense I've met a lot of people who did apply to Oxbridge. I applied to Oxbridge and didn't get in, but didn't get an interview in the first place, so because I didn't do well enough in the exams, clearly. I personally didn't want to go to Oxford, where I applied. I only kind of applied because I felt like it would be good to apply, it'd be good to just confidence-wise see whether I'd get in. But I always wanted to go to Durham. Durham was my first choice uni, which is why I applied with 2 different courses. That happens where people don't want to go to Oxford or Cambridge. Pretty much the majority of people I met at Durham did apply to Oxbridge, but that just comes hand in hand with going to a good university, I guess. The majority of people are going to apply to Oxbridge because it's quite close in grade boundaries, and actually my grade boundary for my firm at Durham was higher than it would have been at Oxford because you had to go through the whole exam process. It makes sense, really. At the same time, people like it at Durham for the most part, of what I've seen. It's not like oh, I've had to go to Durham because I didn't get into Oxbridge, if that makes sense. Heard you were pregnant, how do you deal with that at uni? People like to make up rumours about that with everybody. No, I am not. Why and where does that come from? No, I'm not. How easy, difficult is it making friends? With COVID, it's a lot more difficult, I guess, than a normal year would be. But I have a household of 14 and I get on with all of them. I don't not get on with anybody that I've met. I found it quite easy actually, and I say that with I'm genuine about that, because I don't find it easy to make friends anyway, and I find it quite easy at uni because everybody's in the same boat of wanting to make friends. I don't know if it'd be any different in a non-collegiate uni because we were sort of all put together and we had that space where everyone's in the same uni, in the same mindset. I've made friends with people on my course. I've made friends with people who were at Grey because I was on the group chat from there. It's just throwing yourself into group chats. Societies, I haven't made many friends from societies yet, but only because it's all virtual, it's not in person, so that's quite difficult to make friends. It's definitely, I was stressed about it when I went, and it's not hard to make friends. Do you like your college? Why and why not? I was devastated when I didn't get into Grey. So originally I got into Grey, I got accepted to Grey College, and that was my original choice of college. I liked where it was. It's very close to the main site. I also liked the atmosphere, and the group chat gave me a good vibe. I liked that. I liked Grey, and I was devastated when I was reallocated after the whole mix up with Burjo. But I love it now. It really goes to show that you will love your college, whichever one you end up going to. You will love it. The only bad I've heard from somebody talking about their college was somebody who goes to Hatfield, but I know that's not representative of the whole of Hatfield. There were just 4 girls I spoke to in a group chat and they didn't like it there. But it really just depends who you are. You look at all the stereotypes, even though they are not representative at all, they do give you a little bit of an idea of some cliques within those colleges, and if you really do not want to be involved in those cliques, then maybe steer clear of those kind of colleges. But doesn't mean that you won't enjoy it if you do end up being reallocated there, because you probably will enjoy it anyway. You just have to find the right people to hang out with. So yes, I love Van Milder. I think the only really, I guess, negative thing to say about Van Milder is whether you want to be walking up and down the hill. It's manageable. There's 2 different ways to walk up. There's a steeper hill and there's a less steep hill. I prefer that walk because it's less steep. That would, just in general. But at the same time, I wanted a hill college because I didn't like any of the Bailey colleges when I went to see them. They're all quite small in general. I think Castle's a little bit bigger, but I could be wrong, I don't know. And I did apply for Castle through my firm choice, but for both I got an offer for Grey because I applied for Grey through my insurance. I don't know, I like the walk sometimes because it gives you exercise. If you want to go to a catered college, you're going to have to either go to St Chad's, which is it St Chad's or Cuthbert? I'm just editing, and actually I was wrong on that. There's quite a few who offer self-catered, so Stevenson, John Snow, Josephine Butler, Hatfield, Usanov, University, which is Castle, Grey, St Chad's and St Cuthbert's. I think it might be Stevenson actually that is self-catered. It just depends what you're looking for. How much work is there? There isn't that. It depends. It really depends what you mean by how much work. There's quite a lot of reading on my course because the majority of my course is not in person, like set time. So I have an hour lecture per module each week, and I have an hour seminar every other week for my criminology modules, except for critical scholarship, which doesn't have a lecture but has a workshop every week, and my English modules have a workshop every 3 weeks or so. Sorry, something with my eye. Yeah, that's all the teaching time. English has a very low contact time. Criminology is a little bit higher, but it's still not that high, especially now that we're not having in-person visits to police stations and stuff like that. I'd say I have a lot of reading, and it takes up most of my day to read the readings, but that's because I just read everything that they give me, and you don't have to read everything they give you. It depends what you're wanting out of uni. And there's the core that you have to read to understand, and then there's further readings, and I try and read everything, which I've had a problem with because it's meant that I don't have time to do all that. But I've had 2 English formatives. Formatives are coursework assessments that don't go towards your final grade. That can be, we did a book review which is formative for criminology, essays that are formative just as a practice, and it literally does not matter towards your grade. It just gives you kind of like a, this is what you need to do better for the summative, which the summative does go towards your grade, and I've only done 1 summative so far, and I don't know my mark on that yet, and the one I did was worth 50%, and that might be different for different subjects on the weighting of it. I found that mine were quite a lot of work to get my formatives done, only because I'm a perfectionist, so I did a couple all-nighters at the Bill Bryson just to get them done. So it's not a huge amount of work. I work really hard. I try to work really hard, because I think it's important to get those skills in there for 2nd year and 3rd year. But at the end of the day, it's not a huge amount of pressure. You still have time for social time. Yeah, I haven't found it overwhelming yet. 2nd term will probably be harder. So the next question made me laugh a little bit. Is Mildred's water supply actually fed by the lake? Now, I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. The water is not great. The tap water at Durham. Maybe that's just because I'm privileged, and I probably am, but I don't know, it's got some sort of chemical in it. Like, I don't know, I really don't know. It's drinkable. Like, I don't think it's lake water. I haven't gotten sick from the water as far as I know yet. So I hope not. Wouldn't be surprised though with how they sort of love their ducks in their lake. Funny though. What was the hardest thing about transitioning to uni from 6th form? Oh, it's a good question. I didn't find it particularly hard to transition. Maybe that's just because I did a lot of independent work anyway at 6th form. And I mean, you have to do that anyway, but I just mean like I did a lot. I did an APQ. I did a lot of wider reading for history. I guess it's the independent, having to set up your own timetable, having to get up in the morning and do it, having to be disciplined in that sense, but also finding time to just do what you want to do. So it really depends who you are, for what will be difficult for you. For me, it was not working 9 till 6 and then having dinner and then having an hour and then going to bed. Like that was the thing for me, was trying to make sure that I did have kind of a downtime, not just work constantly. And I've managed to do that because I've actually joined a lot of societies, which I'll talk about after I've done the questions. But yeah, I think that'll probably be the hardest thing to do, is independent. How's your English degree going, and how's Durham been so far? So I'm not doing an English degree, as I said, I'm doing a criminology degree. English is hard. I'm not going to like sugarcoat it, it's hard. But maybe that's just because I feel really out of my depth with a lot of the students in English, because a lot of them are A-star students and I'm not, quite frankly. I would have gotten an A in English in the end, and if I'd have gotten an A-star, it would have been because I was predicted an A-star. But if I had have gotten an A-star, it would have been a very low A-star. It wouldn't have been a comfortable or high A-star. Some of the students are incredible. That's all I can say. In my seminars, in my workshop groups, they're just insane, and they say the most insane things. And when I listen to the lectures, I don't know what. I genuinely have to spend another hour after every lecture understanding what my English lecturers say. That's fine. Like, I just put aside that time to understand it. And I'm doing okay. I got my formative feedback the other day, actually, 2 days ago, and she said that it's just my writing style, which I've always been told it's all my writing style's a bit clunky, but I got a 2-1. So I'm clearly doing fine. I think I'm hard on myself anyway. With English, you learn about so many different texts, so many different pieces of poetry, and I'm doing Epic in the Literature of Legend, or the Literature of the North. They changed it, so I don't know which one is the newest one. And one which was Romance in the Literature of Chivalry. So both of those are Old English or Norman texts. A lot of them are in translation, but some of them are just Old English, so Chaucer. So I'm doing quite difficult, I would say quite difficult modules, but at least I'm not doing biblical texts because that would have killed me. That's all I'm saying. And has Durham been so far? I've loved it. I love Durham. I'm doing a huge amount of societies, which it's going to get on top of me probably. There's so much available, even in COVID, there's so much available to do. I love the city itself because as soon as I got there, I just felt kind of like I belonged there. That sounds really cheesy, but like that's how I felt. And it will be different for each person, because I know, for example, my boyfriend wouldn't love Durham. So it really does depend who you are. I like the collegiate system because it made everything compact and it gave you kind of like a lot of support from the uni. I'm not saying support couldn't be better, but I think from Van Milde it's definitely been amazing. And I'm actually part of a pastoral team. I don't know about other colleges and I don't know what they have at other colleges, but I'm sure there is a lot available. The only negative thing I have to say, I guess, about it's not really Durham, it's not Durham's fault, it's just specific instances. There's a couple occasions of misogyny, which I won't go into in too much detail. There was a couple of cases of racism and classism, which is a problem at Durham, and it's known to be a problem at Durham, but there are lots of different students and professors trying to fight against that, especially the sociology department. So my department have had meetings with us many times to try and discuss ways of stopping that from happening within the department and also bringing it further to the uni. So they are trying in some ways to change. Whether it does change soon enough, I don't know, but I know that they are trying in some departments. I don't know about others. How easy did you find it to click with your flatmates? Really easy. All my flatmates are lovely. I think there are little like groups that have formed, but we all get on like as a collective anyway, but that's just like, that is obviously going to happen. So I have my like group of friends and then there's other groups, and that's fine, that's just like normal, but we all get on as a collective anyway. So yeah, I find it really easy. I've heard from different people, so if I'm going to be honest with you, I've heard about some people hating their flatmates, but if that happens you can always talk to the college and they can fix it for you. I know somebody who did end up moving because they didn't get on with their flatmates. I know a couple of people who did that actually from different colleges. So yeah, it's honestly fine. It's a lot easier than you're going to hype yourself up to think it is. It took us a couple of days because obviously you did the usual icebreakers on freshers with freps who are students second year and third year who come and like try and get you used to uni life and try and explain things to you that you need help with and all that sort of thing. They do all the icebreakers and, you know, the one interesting fact about yourself and whatever, which is kind of awkward, but at the same time you can laugh about it together. Would you recommend Durham Uni? Yes, I would, but I have to say it really, as I've said before, it really does just depend who you are. I wouldn't recommend it to everybody. I would recommend it to people who want something that's really close-knit and you have your own college. It makes everything a little bit more diluted, if that makes sense. So you have immediately people in front of you to socialise with. You don't have to go out and find friends, really. They're just sort of immediately there with you. And I have a household of 14, so that's a good number. And I think that also creates a sense of community and just, you know, that sort of thing. Different colleges are different. So there is, I don't know the names of all of them, so bear with me. And if I miss a college of somebody who's watching, then don't fight me. So there's Van Milde that I'm at, which is a Hill College, Collingwood, which is a Hill College and is known as being sporty. There's also Grey, which is a Hill College, and that's known Grey by name, Grey by nature. But I loved the atmosphere there when I went. They're right by the science sites. If you're a science student, then maybe think of their Trevlin College, which is called Trevs, which is right next to us and is like a hexagon shape, which we all make fun of, but I know a couple of people there who like it there. I also know a couple of people there who don't like it there, so I don't know what the stereotype is there. I don't know they have a stereotype. Our stereotype, I didn't mention that, was we're known as the ones who do a lot of community outreach projects, but we're also known as the ones that Van Milde looks like a bit like a drug rehab centre. And big up the drug rehab centre, that's all I can say. So you have to look past the exterior and go into the interior. South, which is new, and I don't know much about that. Apparently it's really lovely. Stevenson is also a Hill College. Again, don't know the stereotype about Stevenson. South doesn't have a stereotype because it's new. St Mary's, can't remember the stereotype for them. They shut down quite quickly with COVID, so take from that as you will. St Aidan's, which is a little bit further down. Lots of steps is all I know about St Aidan's, but a lot of people have good reviews about St Aidan's and love it there. In the Bailey, St John's, I've missed John Snow. John Snow is on the hill, I think. St Chad's, Cuthbert, Castle, obviously. What I'm saying is, if you do apply to Castle, don't be too upset if you don't get actually into the Castle, because most of them are shared rooms. So you win some, you lose some. There was Usanor College, which is a postgrad, I think, college, which is on the hill. I've probably forgotten a load of them. All I'd say is look at what you want from a college if you're going to apply to Durham, and don't be too devastated if you don't get it, because you will like whatever college you end up being at, and there's pros and cons of all of them. Van Milder is really lovely. I found that because pretty much everybody who goes there has been reallocated, there's a really nice atmosphere. Final thing to say is about societies, even in COVID. I'm part of Purple Radio, which a lot of you will know already, and I do broadcasts for that every Wednesday and every Friday. On Wednesdays I do like a show about overanalyzing song lyrics, and I do that every 2 weeks. That's called Overanalysis. And then I have Uncharted Territory, which is on a Friday for an hour at 9 AM till 10 AM, which is underrated music. And if anybody has any suggestions, then just send it to me on my Instagram, which I will put somewhere here, or my Snapchat will also be somewhere here. So yeah, and I do the Uncharted Territory every week. I really enjoy that, and it's been really good fun. To start with in person, so they have their own like setup, and it's so easy to get used to. It's just like a couple buttons that you slide. Like, it's not difficult. They're also lovely there, so that's been great. Obviously it's from home now because of the lockdown and tier 3 measures, which Durham is in, but hopefully soon enough that'll change back. We don't know when, but we'll see. I also do Poetry Society every now and then, sort of whenever I have time. I applied for a show of 1984 by George Orwell, because that's one of my favourite books of all time, but I didn't get in because there were only like 4 or 5 parts or something like that, so I don't really blame them for not. I am also part of, I do a lot of rep positions, so I'm a household rep, I'm a course rep, I also do some volunteering, which is to build my hopefully year abroad profile. Do that with Age UK, where I write letters every week, and I also have phone call every week, and I also tutor once a week in term time for English GCSE. I am part of the Culture Commission, which is fighting racism, classism, misogyny, homophobia, anything like that, any awful thing like that, and it's mainly students in 2nd, 3rd, 4th year or higher. I think I'm the only one who went to that meeting who was 1st year, but it's been a great experience doing that. I was part of in-step dance for a little while, but I got a refund for that because I ended up clashing with something and I couldn't do it. I'm also part of JamSoc, but I don't do much for that really. That's just, I was hoping when things are a bit more in person, I can do like, you know, open mic nights and stuff like that. What else? Public speaking. I do Public Speaking Society. I'm also part of Pot Noodle Society, but I haven't been to any of the meetings for that. I went to one session of Paint and Sip because somebody else couldn't go. God, I've done loads. I'm part of Gin Society, but as far as I'm aware, they haven't done anything yet. I'm also part of Chocolate Society, but again, I haven't really done anything with them. That was just, I applied to set it up because it was free. Hiya, it's me editing again. Also, I am starting with Feminism Society, Women's Society, so a women's association I think it's called. So just like fighting for equality in general, not just for women, but just like in general. I'm hoping to do some more like stuff about mental health, because I feel like the government have dealt with mental health really badly, and I think it's not just the government, but like society doesn't care enough about mental health yet. So I will be doing more about that. So yeah, hopefully anyway, if I can find some way of doing that. I think that's my extensive list of societies. There's lots available societies wise, even within COVID. I know a lot of societies have been doing their best to continue doing stuff over Zoom. There is literally everything you'd want to do, everything that's quirky, everything that's... Oh, I'm also part of rowing, but I haven't actually managed to do anything with that yet because I didn't do the beginners teaching session because I'm not actually that serious about it. I just wanted to do it for a little bit of exercise, you know, it could be fun. I don't know, I've tried so many sports that I haven't enjoyed, so I thought I'd try something else. And I didn't do the beginners like sessions because it was 44 quid or something like that, and I thought, is it really worth it when I don't really want to get good at it? I just want to do it for fun. And they said I didn't have to do it, it was just like an optional if you want to sort of like improve on that. I think it's all open now, but I don't think they're doing much yet with beginners. They haven't mentioned it to us yet. Let me know, anybody who's watching, if that's different and that's I've just missed something, I don't know. So yeah, I'm hoping to get involved with frepping for next year, but I don't know when that gets announced. I'm part of the pastoral team, which is just for like talk and support, that sort of thing. Oh, I was going to talk about what the last thing, I promise this is the last thing, the differences between seminars, tutorials, workshops, lectures. Lectures are usually 1 hour, but some subjects do them longer. So I know some people have 2 to 3 hour lectures, which, God, I hate that, but all of mine are 1 hour, and they're just like, they will literally talk at you and here's all the information, learn it. Workshops are a larger group discussion, so it's like 25 in my workshop, which I only have one, and that's just like a group discussion. They put you into breakout rooms sometimes. Tutorials and seminars are pretty much the same thing. I think tutorials are supposed to be smaller than seminars, but most departments just use them as the same thing now. They're just like, you have a little discussion with a group of maybe 10, 15, and you all just discuss your ideas about it. And I found them really helpful when they're in person, so hopefully more of them are in person next term. I mean, it's been pretty good that it's pre-recorded because it means you can do it whenever. I think that is all I really have to say. I've been drinking lots of coffee while I've been at uni. That's another thing. So I think that's it. If I missed anything, please just don't hesitate to message me. Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever you want to message me on. I make some videos on TikTok about uni, so that might help. Let me know any other, what you want to see next, what covers you want to see next, anything else, what TikTok content you want to see next. Yeah, don't do that, I won't listen to you, I'll just do whatever I want really with TikTok. But have a good Christmas. Hopefully I'll have another video up before Christmas. Hopefully this will be up before Christmas. And here's to a better 2021. See you. And now I can just drink my coffee.